Yeah, you know what it is, man. It's the East Coast Beast host back again. Um, you know what I'm saying? Another episode of East Coast coverage. Going down. Shout out to all the guests before that. You know what I'm saying? But we're cooking right now. We're cooking right now. So ever since his first album, straight out his first album out of the East, my guest has been on an evolutionary journey that's led him to chart smashing success all the way up to his sixth project, Ghosts of Rockingham, out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one, the only bRavenous. Yeah, I'm gonna clap just because I feel like there needs to be some clapping right here.
That was a dope intro. Thanks, man.
Yo, I stumbled through it, but you know, we got to get this work, man.
No.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. All right, so for those who haven't watched our first interview, let's go through a little bit of your past for them. You are bRavenous, and you grew up in Rockingham.
That's correct. Yeah, in Halifax.
Talk to me about Rockingham, bro.
It's just it's just a neighborhood in Halifax. It's Halifax being a smaller place. It's not considered the city, but I mean on provincially on a map or whatever. Yeah, it's part of the city, but to us, it's all like different boroughs. So it's like right next door to Fairview, realistically, and yeah, so like that's where I grew up in that area. So when I was living there, man, it was kind of like a little paradise, if you ask me. It was like had all kinds of wooded areas and like just pathways and places to just really good place to grow up. Lots of fields and it's kind of like its own little entity, if you ask me. So that's what it was.
Okay, so that's why you shouted out so heavily, because like I definitely heard other rappers represent other portions of the Halifax proper, like Classify. We all know he reps Enfield, and we all know that Quake is over there, and
on Flint.
Yeah, Flint, exactly, right. And so I think it's really dope that you're repping Rockingham to the fullest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You came up on Hally Famous.
Yeah, well, I guess that's when back then, I guess, yeah, that's when I first really started meeting people positively or negatively, really. Like, I mean, that's when people started hearing the name bRavenous, I guess.
For those who didn't really grow up in the era, can you describe what Hally Famous was to the community?
Hally Famous was created by my man, Greg Bates. His rap name was actually Master Bates, which was a pretty cool rap name back in the day.
Fire.
Yeah. So, he created this website. It really was a way to pull all the different rappers together and be on a platform. And I mean, the internet wasn't brand new, but it was still like 2003 or whatever, 2004 for whatever reason. So it was a cool place to all have Halifax hip hop artists be on this forum, share their music, network. And it was just like super insightful for the time. And I mean, Greg Bates, in my opinion, was like a visionary. He always he's considerably younger than myself. Well, maybe not considerably, but definitely younger in the sense that he created this whole platform and it was huge for a while. And he put out a pretty cool compilation. I think that was the goal in the end, put out a compilation, get everybody on it together. And I mean, it had everybody from Classified who was on it. And at the time, he wasn't in the Classified that we know today, but to us, it was that Classified, or at least somebody like me saying, wow, he has got a significant amount of clout at the time. And then you get somebody like all the way down to Quake Matthews' little kid voice on the album, so it was like and everybody in between, like Ghetto Socks and even myself somehow snuck on the album, maybe. I don't know.
Right. What was a common thread on the Hall of Famous like message boards and like common themes?
There was a lot of usual stuff, just share music, this and that, like good job, this sucks, like all the stuff that could ruin a website. But I thought it was cool because all artists could go around and have like if they had a website at the time, they had a link to it so everybody could listen to their stuff. It was up to, or Greg Bates, like somebody like myself who didn't really have a website. I remember he put one up he made a small page for myself and Quake and maybe somebody else, I'm not sure, but just so every artist could hear and network. And when it first started, I believe it was more love than anything else, but it kind of got shut down after a while because when I was more detached from it, from what I hear, that it kind of got to more of that, like, you know, everybody was going at each other and things like that, which inevitably happens on forums and message boards at some point.
And hip hop.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, you try to maneuver around that, but it's inevitable at some point, like when anybody can just not just rappers, right? But
right. No, for sure. And like you said, you met a young and hungry Quake Matthews at an early age through Halifamus. And you know, you definitely you were featured and recorded some of his first joints in history, really.
Yeah, well, I didn't meet him through the website. I met him through Greg.
Right.
So, how did it happen?
Rap Day.
Rap Day was the second joint.
Rap Day was the second joint. Okay.
Second joint, believe it or not. So I have this like album that's just on a disc, nowhere else, that I kind of messed around and put out. It's not great, but some people would consider it my first album, like in like 2002 or 3.
Right.
And I think Quake was rapping over all industry beats. I think he did a rap over Juicy. I think he did a rap over can't remember. I just remember Juicy stuck out to me. But he did this like I remember the chorus because I said, yo, like don't worry about writing anything, just come put this on this beat that my buddy Don Juan made after Greg brought him to the studio. And he just came out and re-rapped it. And he did, I think the chorus was like, I can't lose focus, I can't lose focus, I can't lose focus
on the microphone. Yeah,
that's what he told me. And he had rapped that on an industry beat earlier. So, and he brought his little buddy with him. And I was just about saying, yo, like, this is awesome. Like, you guys jump on this. Like, you know, Sean at the time had a little cool studio set up. And coincidentally, I had met him before when I was working as like a rec supervisor at the Northcliffe night. And I met him and I saw your interview before and with Quake, and he's trying to recall what happened. But my version of the story, we didn't talk about rapping that night. We actually talked about basketball. He was trying to find a basketball team, and I was coaching a lot of ball teams at the time. And he was like, if you start a team or whatever, like, I'd like to be on. I'm like, cool. But that's how I knew him, talking about, I let them go on the tennis courts or whatever. So we didn't talk about rap that night. But what was the coincidental amazing part, Bates was just playing his music for me and saying, yeah, this kid's only however old he was at the time, 12, 13, 14, I can't remember exactly. But
a teenager. Yeah,
like super young, junior high, like. And when I'm gonna meet them at the studio because they got to ride out with Bates, and then I walk in the studio, they're sitting there, and there's the kid from the tennis night at Northcliffe. So we didn't talk about rap that night. I walked into I know you. You're the kid that came to the tennis night, and we were talking about basketball. So
and you also spit hot fire. Shit.
Yeah, that's how that went. That's how that story went. At least how I remember it. So you can ask Matt if he remembers it the same way, but that's how I remember
it. No, that's dope. When you look at where he's at now, did you ever picture that when you look back?
About him? I always knew he had something special, like no question. To where he is right now, I don't know. Like, did I think Classify was gonna get where he's at? Probably not. but I definitely
Right.
knew that you never know. Like, I guess where we're from at the time, you don't picture it going that far. But
Right.
now, because of guys like Class and Quake, you're like, wow, like what a measuring stick or what a stepping stone,
Mhm.
for a lot of people. Like, yeah, they kind of move in different lanes, but somebody like Quake, yeah, he's kind of really sticking with that lane. The fact that he's in like New York or whatever he's doing at this moment, like
Yeah,
sitting,
he went on Sway and did that.
that's something. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty special. So yeah, I wouldn't lie and be like, yeah, I thought he was going to do that, but I always knew how dope he was. That's for sure.
Mhm. Absolutely. Hungry from the minute you met him. Man, let's talk about your first album, Out of the East.
Oh yeah. I did that off a huge hiatus.
Yeah.
Really, like, I mean, we just talked about Rockingham and Halifax and all that stuff. So I was doing all that stuff back home, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of here, and moved out to where I'm sitting right now in Calgary, Alberta.
Mm.
And so I didn't know anybody, wasn't really looking. Like, I felt like that chapter was kind of over. So I was like, okay, I'm just doing other things. Like, and Out of the East kind of came about when I tell you the truth, I was just sitting around, like, you're scrolling Facebook and starting to get the itch, like,
Yeah.
because it was such a part of my life when I was here. And then when I moved out here, started getting the itch, started looking for beats and like things like that. I started buying beats for no reason with no place to record. You know what I mean? Like, started gravitating towards it, and then my man Brock Hamilton, like my guy that's like the manager, the hype man, everything you could imagine, showed up, and he's like, I'm in. Like, I'll come on stage. Let's start doing. And he's not even like really a rapper. He's just kind of like Brock Hamilton. That's his identity. Like,
He's
we
Brock, man.
everything else, right? So yeah, we started our little thing like Badmouth, and then I found a place to record just by chance. Started doing a couple things, and then another place to record a couple things, and starting to piece together this album. So yeah, and we were just doing lots, and then we had a lucky break where we got hooked up with True Rhythm out here, and by KG Precise, and he brings lots of cool acts, like all the underground boom bap he brings from the States. Like, he was hooking us up. We got to open up for Mobb Deep, Cypress Hill, like all kinds of cool stuff with that, off the strength of that album. So yeah, it was, I mean, if you go back and listen to it, it's cool, but I mean, you could tell there's definitely growth in everything that was going
100%.
on. But for the time, like, performance wise, it was the perfect album to have. And like doing things like Ric Flair, like Leaving Nova Scotia got really big, and like all kinds of cool little song joints. The one with Quake and Samson, Ride It Out, was huge, and we were really performing so much. It was just perfect album to have while you're performing. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. Upbeat. I feel like it was your love letter to East Coast music, honestly.
Well, yeah, it was just once again, like, I'm a prideful guy. I always refer to the East. I never want to be like known as Calgary MC bRavenous. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out here, but I still, like, the love I got for hip hop alone came from being home and being from. So I feel like I'm still a transplant, like, out here. I just live out here. I still MC like from home, and it really, so that's why the name Out of the East. Just, it was a cool play, like, on words. Obviously, I'm not living out of the East, but I'm out of the East. I'm living here out of the East. You know what I mean? So I'm representing Flash. Like, so yeah, I don't know. It just leaving Nova Scotia, it was still relatively fresh at the time. So, like, being from Nova Scotia and being out in a place at the time where it was kind of booming, everybody was leaving for a moment. I just happened to not go back. Like, a lot of people that were vibing to that song out here with me kind of went back, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was cool to be known as an East Coast MC out here, especially doing all those shows. So yeah, definitely, like,
hell yeah.
I love
it. And then right after that, You actually no, not right after that. You took like 7 years ish for the next joint, Land of the Stranger.
No, I did. The Sunset Never Looked So Bad after Out of the East 2 years later. But what happened with the Sunset Never Looked So Bad? I knew I was packing it up for a minute. I had a feeling similar to when I moved, because we did Out of the East, then we were doing shows, and I think maybe 2 years later we put out Sunset Never Looked So Bad. Sunset Never Looked So Bad was cool. I think it would have been really well received if I cared more about it. And now what I mean by that is I knew what I mean by that is it was made over such a long period of time that half the album sounds like each other, and then the other half of the album sounds like the same. So what I did is pretty much take 2 albums and throw them together, thinking, you know, I'm taking a huge hiatus. I started having, like, my first kid was coming. I was starting to work on, like, you know, my other life, like getting some stuff, ducks in a row, and
professionally.
Yeah. And I felt like I have all these songs like in my head at the time, man. I was just like, you know what? I'm just putting this out. Didn't really promote it. Didn't do much. But when people go back and find it, it's definitely some really cool stuff on it. And when I look back on it, man, I'm like, really wish I had the mindset or the mind frame to not just say I got to get this out and be like, I'm just gonna say it's out there and then hope for the best. Which when you don't promote anything, nothing really happens. So like, okay, we had a little bit of steam at the beginning, but you know, I think I could have done a better job, especially because I could have turned it into 2 albums instead of 1.
Yeah, was a double album?
It could have been. It was just like, I think it had 20 tracks. Like,
wow.
It was just too much. Like, I just put it out. But back then it was still like iTunes was still bopping. Like, there wasn't streaming at the time, but it was still, you know, it did okay for us. Like, definitely, like a lot of people bought it, but other than that, like, it just kind of like fizzled slowly and like I said, I was planning to take a hiatus, so I rushed it out, and then you're like,
then Land of the Stranger.
Yeah, so Land of the Stranger. Now, that's a good question too, because Land of the Stranger is similar. Land of the Stranger was half done because I left songs off Sunset that I thought didn't fit, believe it or not. So, like, I'm talking about, I had like 21 songs or something crazy on it. So there were songs that just left. You know how you make an album or you're making songs, I'm sure you know this, and you're just like, you make one a long time ago. And it kind of falls out of favor for whatever reason, because it's just like it was one of the ones you made early or just at a point.
It's not your favorite anymore.
Yeah. Or like your buddy, you're like, yo, check this out. Play this for your buddy. And he's vibing to a couple, and you play that one. He's like looking at his phone. You're like, what? You don't like this?
Right.
Like, up, scratch. Like, it gets in your head or whatever. For whatever reason, some of those songs got left off. And that's how it started. I was actually at Brock's house and we were vibing out or whatever. And he's like, man, you got to finish an album. Like, you got like this song, this song, this song. All you need to do is make a couple more, throw out another album. And he's like, and then retire forever. So I was like, okay, like I can probably get something going. So I actually found a place to record. And it was funny because I took so much time off up here. You know, all my usual places at the time. Like, once again, like so this is where I'm getting at with the title of the album. I was not people that I used to go record with. And they are like, nah, I don't do it anymore. Or, like, I moved or this and that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't recording myself at the time. So buddy put me in touch with his name's Walmartian. And he was a guy that he's like an audio engineer. He went to school for it and everything. So he had a huge setup. I went down there and recorded like 6 songs or whatever to try to finish up what I already had. And then I finished the rest up with Samson when I was visiting in Halifax. And so in my mind just kind of said, hey, tying up loose ends, just saying like it'd be a shame for an album just to sit and not put it out now that I have a little more time. So kind of threw it out, and it actually did well enough that it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. I was like, hey, like people are listening to this, people are messaging. It was ranking pretty high on like college radio. I still went through the same channels, but it definitely got my attention. I was like, hey, like, and I really do like making music. So, that's kind of set a little bit with the kids. And I was like, okay, like maybe I'll go back at it. So that's Land of Stranger was a really important album just because it kind of like, it started off as just, like I was saying, like just tying up loose ends, and it kind of turned into like finding that love again that I thought I lost. So
you got fired up.
Big time.
Hell yeah, man. And then, Between the Lines, bam.
Yeah, well, Between the Lines is probably could be considered the most important one.
It's definitely important.
Just, and I don't mean the best. I mean, everybody has their favorites, right? But I mean, maybe the most important, because at that point, just by chance, because off the strength of the Land of the Stranger, Samson was talking to my wife. He's like, man, B needs to record himself. Like, he likes it. Maybe like you could. So he kind of went and hit her up and said, maybe you get him something for Christmas or his birthday or something. Like, he just being sick. So behind the scenes, they're like talking, trying to figure out. He's given her everything I would need to set up my own little recording studio, and she was willing to do it off the strength of Land of the Stranger, like a hobby. Right. And this is just pre-COVID, just barely, right? So
yep.
So it just so happens that Christmas, COVID Christmas before, because COVID was like what, February or something.
Yeah.
So December, right? Like they get me. Well, I say him and her, but he was
they conspired against you or for you,
right? Yeah, they conspired against me. He needs to know how to record.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's so simple once you know. But anyway, I just so old school. I was like, I'm just an MC. But it was so stupid. Anyway, so yeah, just by chance, end up getting my own setup, learning how to use everything. Made one or two songs, and then I wasn't even that into it. I made like one or two songs that were never released, just made them to try it out or whatever. And then boom, COVID hit, and I had a whole setup. I'm looking at it right now. You can't see it or whatever, but it's in here. And
what do you got? Can you explain to people what do you got?
Well, I got just a microphone, but I built a whole booth. I understood. I like how to use my system, and I keep it pretty simple because I don't think I have time to learn how to master properly or whatever. Right. So I use like a high level, just microphone I can plug in right to my Mac. That's high, like on the advice of Samson. And off the strength of like learning, I built like a really nice booth that because all you need really to do is have good sound on the recording end, and then you can find a good engineer to help you, right? So yeah, I know what I figured out how to do it. I am getting pretty good at like mixing a little bit. Like, I don't know if I'll ever, when you get a friend like him that's so good at it, I don't know. And Fester's great too. So all those guys.
Fester's amazing also.
So who am I to say I'm going to be the mixer, right? But anyway, so yeah, that was just my chance, man. It was super cool. Like like that's kind of what lit the flame, because I was like, wow, what a game of chance, right? Because honestly, we're still in it, relatively speaking, right? And imagine if I didn't have anything, we wouldn't have been talking about Between the Lines and everything after. So
oh my god, we wouldn't be talking about a lot after Between the Lines for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
You had the verse for Classic Material for a while.
I had the beat for Classic Material for a while. I had Hermit's verse.
Yeah.
Because we did it a long time ago, and he gave me a super fire verse And I hated mine the whole time, and I didn't really have an idea to put it out or whatever. I just kind of, I talk about it from time to time. Like it was one of those, like, I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was like, I just kind of threw something together. I was like, man, but his verse is so good and the beat is so nice. I was just like, I don't want to put something out yet. So I'm just going to keep this just in case. One of the best decisions I've ever made, because he gave me that verse in like 2012 or 13 or something. Or 10, no, maybe 2010 he gave it to me. And I've had it that long before Between the Lines. And I was like that's like 10 years. And I was like,
wow.
I was just like, I'm not feeling what I did. I'll just get back to it. Never did, but I still had all the files. So when it was time to start creating like Between the Lines material, it popped in my head right away. I was like, and I remember Sean Juan, who's on the song with us, many times, like I would go to his place because we chill like as buddies as well.
Yeah.
And one time he even like rapped on the verse that I left at his house or the beat that I left at his house on that. So I always knew he liked it, and he showed it to me, and I was like, yeah, cool. But you can't put it out because that's my beat. Yeah, I own it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he was just showing me like, I'm feeling this. He did like a ton of bars to it. So I always kept him in mind too. So when it was time to go back at it, I was like, okay, I got Herman's first, which is dope.
Yeah.
I know Sean likes it. I know he'll kill it. So I got him to do it. And I felt like I owed it to him because he proved to me a couple years ago he really wanted to be on the song. And then and then I was working with Fester. So I was like, I never could figure out a chorus for it in the first place. So I let Fester go at it. And just everything came together perfectly. And it just turned into the first single.
Smash that shit.
Yeah, it was super dope. Kind of, yeah, everything just since Land of the Stranger, one thing just was just luck, man. Like just one thing after the other going the right way. So
after Between the Lines, I feel like you hit such a stride.
Yeah, well, my goal was always like, if Between the Lines doesn't land, I'm done. I always try to put that, I don't know if it's motivation or fear of failure. I can't tell. But I wanted to put that not out to the world, but in my head. Because I was like, at some point, like,
this is going to be it. Like at some point, it's going to be over.
Right. So I was just like, it's got to be good enough that I gain some sort of recognition or following, because I always would cheat myself in my mind where I'd be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, put this out, disappear, put that out, disappear. Like, you know what I mean? So this time I'm like, no, I'm going to put this out and I'm confident. I stand by it. It was, and I used that as a platform to make Flaunting Imperfections. And Flaunting Imperfections, but I never, you know what, it's like training. It's like, I never stop going at it. Like people see an album come out and they're like, okay, like the next one comes out a year later or 2 years later or whatever. But like, I mean, realistically, an album comes out and you're still working and honing your craft and making it better the whole time. Yeah. So while everybody's seeing like articles praising an album or like, you know, or interviews or whatever, right? Like I'm still like, I'll pop in, do an interview, but you're still working, bro. Working and creating and trying to just become better at what I'm doing. So yeah, like Between the Lines, and then like the product, and obviously Fester, vouching, things like that kind of sent me in the direction of Black Buffalo, and then Flaunting Imperfections kind of came out, and that one definitely hit pretty well. So it was
also you had some support with Flaunting Imperfections also, because you had some really, really dope MC friends on that, as along with like your regular partners. Mm-hmm. You know, you had dudes like Ambition step to the mic, and Jay Busy, the legendary Jay Busy.
Yeah. You know what though? Like that's not me. That's Fester. So I mean, now at this time, I could reach out and we've worked together or whatever. But Fester did a great job of being somebody that would stand by me and put his name and stamp it and be like, yo, like you need to. I work with him. This is somebody that you know uh, you need to work with, and
Right.
and they all agreed, and he was a huge part of that, man. So
Between the Lines was a huge part of that though, because like he wouldn't have any leg to stand on to come to these legends and say, yo, this man, you gotta rock with him. But with Between the Lines, you had proof and evidence that these people had to rock with you.
well, that's nice, man. But I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like yeah, Between the Lines helped a ton with a little
Mm.
bit of Fester for sure, and maybe more Fester than a little bit. But I feel like those two things got me in a really good spot. And then after Flaunted Imperfections, I kind of got myself in a really nice spot. So
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You were cooking on that shit. You were cooking, bro. You were cooking, bro. Man. So I feel like on Between the Lines, you took Fess's beats and like you cooked with them enough that people would stand behind you like the legends. And then when you got the right features on your shit, like Ghetto Socks, like when you started working with Ghetto Socks, bro, like I knew it was boom through the roof, bro. Like,
yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to work with Ghetto Socks? I mean, if you're
bro, everybody.
yeah,
Everybody wants to work with Ghetto Socks, bro.
if you're a traditional like hip hop golden era boom bap guy, like he's and from where we're from, or like I mean, he's kind of like that person.
Yeah, bro.
For me,
He's
I'm
the
like,
East Coast rock him, bro. Like
yeah,
for
man.
real.
I mean, it was an honor to do things with him. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, and once again, like the fact that he was willing to do it, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
you know, and he's super nice, super humble dude. But we all know his credentials. We all know how good he is. Like,
Oh my god.
so the fact that he was willing to do that for me, probably originally on the strength of Fest and whatnot, but now we have a good enough relationship that we'll chat or whatever from time to time. But
Yeah.
yeah, like definitely cool, definitely a box checked for me back then, like especially to get that done.
Yeah,
So,
man, for sure, for sure. And you toured off of Flaunting Imperfections also. You were
well,
moving around last summer.
we tried, but with COVID and everything, and like we planned to do a ton. We ended up doing one really dope show, but we tried to do much more off
Yeah.
it. But with COVID restrictions, especially being super strict back east where we were at, capacity and everything. If it had been out here, we would have been able to like
Yeah.
go off like no shirts on, whatever we wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? It
Right.
was just different environments. I just wanted to do it back east with Black Buffalo. So
Right.
yeah, but we had a great little like release party, like where
Mhm.
it was super awesome. And like all those guys that we mentioned, Ambition, Socks, Lavender,
To Chi.
Tachichi wasn't there. He was I think he was in New Brunswick or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, anyway, we did album release party actually for Flaunting Imperfections. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
With
Really.
Lavender and Fortunatos, so we kind of shared the release party, and it was
Mhm.
super dope. And yeah, man, it was not everything I expected because of COVID, but I mean, it is what it is. So you take that and call it a win because it's tough not ever being able to get home, and then when you finally get home, you get to move with everybody that you want to move with. So yeah,
Yeah. 100%. But this summer you're gonna cook. I just know it.
I hope so. Like
It's open this summer. We're outside.
okay, well
We're outside this summer.
I'm going for July and August. So like
Wow.
we've been starting to talk up just what we want to do, different opportunities, and I
Yeah.
decided to actually drive this summer. So just so I have a vehicle, my own, like don't have to
Yeah.
worry about anything
You
else.
can move around a little more.
I can do family me slash artist me, and
Yeah.
have a vehicle to get around from place to place. If I want to do something, I don't want to have to stay over or do whatever. I can just drive, get back, whatever. Right. So Thought that was the best move. If I can just make it with the family in the truck, I hear it's going to be tough, like 5 days, 6 days or something.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. All right, man, we got to get to the big deal right now. The big deal. Ghosts of Rockingham, disc one.
Disc one.
Disc one, man.
It is. It's a double. But yeah, disc one.
Disc one.
Disc one. To me, it's the I don't know. I always say like this is the best. It's my favorite. Like, but this one literally, I don't know. It is maybe my favorite. I think it is. I'm not now. Well, there's some important songs on there. You know, there's some. It's a different album. It's important to me.
All right, cool. Well, the first song that jumped out to me was Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that one just landed in that first spot because it just seems like it should start off the album Fantastic. Like,
100%.
Fantastic. It just means, I'm not saying I'm fantastic, but this is fantastic. Like, look at me.
I'm saying you're fantastic, bro. You said can't dumb it down because my son's gonna listen, and I'm gonna sit down and chip through all the wisdom.
Yeah. So when people ask me abstract wise, like, what are you talking about? Blah blah blah. I'm like, you'll figure it out. But I'm gonna sit down and explain to my son exactly what I'm saying because I'm always trying to be genuine and try to share something. So my oldest especially is getting old enough. He's starting to listen to some of the stuff and appropriate wise, of course. And I told him I'm talking with you guys a ton, man. So you guys, and I'm trying to, at some point, you guys are gonna have these things, and you're gonna be able to re-listen to them and hear your dad's voice on them. So it's important that you understand what I'm talking about, and maybe one day you can pass it along to somebody. So
hopefully, man. Right? Absolutely. The song Tradition. You said like minds amalgamate, commentating through the dopest speeches, initiating movement. My apologies.
Yeah,
I'm illiterate today.
Well, that just means, we're just talking about all the features, people I work with, or people I move with, or whatever, right? But like minds means, we all are on the same page, like people we want to create with, or whatever, like, or people you move with, like
people from the culture.
Commentating just means we're commenting, we're sharing verses through the dopest speeches, meaning like we're either sharing knowledge to our children, like I was just saying, or we're putting it in 16s or whatever, and we're just trying to share a little bit of our knowledge, whatever we think we can bring, and hopefully move in a positive manner and gain some sort of position from it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like,
right. You've lived through so many versions of what hip hop is called today, or what we know the culture to be. What should today's MC hope for? Like, what should today's MC hope for from hip hop?
Happiness. Just be content with what you're doing and be able. That's what I think. Maybe it's not the answer you're looking for, but if you're making hip hop, be content and be happy with what you're making, and not worry about what anybody else says. And if that's what the lane you want to move in, then move in it. Like, maybe I just move in like the golden boom bap era because that's what I think I do best, and that's what I know. Like, but I can't make hip hop like in another lane or another avenue. Like, so I respect what people can do and whatever else they can make. Like, because if I can't do it, that's great. Like that. Wow, you can do that. I can't do it, but I would never, tell anybody to do something just because they're trying to chase, riches, money, or whatever. Like, just make something and be content. Because
should you expect money from hip hop or the culture? No, should an MC, not you. You should, but should an MC?
No, I mean, you gotta like, you should make smart business decisions, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't think you should expect anything. I think you just need to, you don't think about that at the beginning or even during. You just come out and you try to make a product that when the dust settles, you're like, I can do something that a lot of people can't do well.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end, when the dust settles and you're driving in your car and you're like, hey, remember what a CD was or a tape? I made this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I did. And, just make music that you're happy with. Because when you start chasing stuff, it's not genuine and it just won't hit. Just make it the way you want to make it.
Yeah.
And maybe a little luck will come out of it. But if you're trying,
Maybe. Don't expect it though.
don't make music for that.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. Bro, deep poetry. That's my jam right now.
Oh yeah, with Hermit.
Oh my God, bro. Hermit goes crazy. Hermit of the Woods, y'all.
You know where
This
Hermit's
man
from?
goes crazy.
You know what neighborhood Hermit grew up in?
What neighborhood?
Rockingham.
Rockingham. Let's go.
That's
He did it Rockingham style.
I was friends with his younger brother. His
Right.
little brother Greg and I were in the same grade every year. Hermit's a little older than us, but it's funny that being on the whole Rockingham tip and the Ghost of Rockingham, that of course like Hermit's going to be on it. Like Hermit is genuinely from Rockingham, so
right,
knows everything I'm talking about. So we had a great time alluding. Like we don't talk about Rockingham as much as like Rockingham style or whatever, but in deep poetry we allude to it a lot. So, and I mean, maybe it's just little things that we get, but we were laughing. He's like, "Did you just mention the Buggy Trail?" The Buggy Trail was like this old like wooded path that you'd have to be super cool and tough to walk through at night, because everybody's like, "Man, did you hear what happened to the Buggy Trail last night?" And blah blah blah. It was terrifying. So like, he's like, "I can't believe you just mentioned the Buggy Trail." Like, I was like, "Yeah, of course, that's famous Rockingham monument."
The warrior.
So yeah, great. And I love working with Hermit. You know why? Number one, he's super dope. Number one, and number two, like I've known him for so long before even hip hop was even in our lives. Really, like I mean, we listened to it obviously, but not on this tip. So it's super cool to be where we're at right now and like work together all the time. So yeah, that song is actually. I'll tell you about that song actually. That song we recorded it on another beat.
Oh wow.
So I'm going to talk about how good Sean 1 is. We gave him the beat, we rapped on it, gave it to him, and I was like, what can you do with this? Because I knew he had done a couple already, and I was like, he's always saying remixes are my favorite thing.
Yeah.
We gave him that, and that's what he gave us back, that beat. Yeah, it was nuts. To me, I remember hearing it for the first time, and I think I just put my arms up like this, like up to the air, like I was like, "This is the greatest." You know, like I can't believe you just sent this back to me. Like, and I sent it to Kermit, and I think he just wrote like "woo" like 100 times on the screen, like. I mean, like it was like I can't believe like this just got sent back to us, man. Like, so yeah, one of my favorites ever, just because of doing with Hermit.
Yeah.
And on and like the circumstances and yeah, like it was.
Hermit is in such a jiggy pocket on that joint. I could never even imagine him being on another beat.
Yeah, well, that's Sean, man.
Bro,
he's a genius.
Fester beat or no? Sean beat.
Sean 1.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Oh wow. Okay, that's amazing. That's just wow. Like he was in such a crazy pocket. I can't even imagine how long that would have took to remix, bro. Like
the cool thing is, like, I have a bunch of like this what made the Ghost of Rockingham so cool, like doing a lot of stuff on other beats and then linking up with Sean saying, because of all the work I did with DK on the album, on the Soulful tip, Sean's Soulful tip was starting to really vibe together. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to see what Sean will do with a couple of these just to fit the DK beats and for whatever else, right? So we have a couple other jams and other beats that are dope too, that are in the pocket that we're thinking about, or Black Buffalo think about releasing this just remixes to like Deep Poetry, which is ironic because they were the first ones, but we'll call it the remix now. Like so.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Wow.
A couple of jams actually. So.
Man, like when you see the things that DK's accomplished lately, how do you feel?
Proud. Like,
yeah,
he's the
honestly,
man. He's super nice, genuine, wonderful dude, man. Just one of the good guys.
I met him through you, and then like, you know, a year later, like he was putting out like this smash with Ghetto Socks, and it's just like it's blown right up.
Yeah, him and Socks have been doing their thing for a minute together, and they work really well together. He had that a project a while ago that like Socks was on, and that's like that's how Justo came into to work with me, like through DK, and like he's always the sound he makes. He really taps into that golden era, like the underground right now in like the States and stuff. Like he's got such like cool connections because when you're a producer like him, like people just the beat does the talk and you just say, here you go. And they're like, oh, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not like you're trying to sell yourself as an MC. The beats, you know, everybody speaks instrumental, you know, no matter where you're from. Right. So yeah, he's incredible.
He speaks softly and walks with a big stick.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Honestly.
That's a great line, actually. I love that line. My father used to say that to me all the time. Walk softly, carry a big stick, man. That's what you should do. Like, just be a good, humble dude and
walk with a big stick.
That's right. That's 100% right.
Hell yeah, man. Listen, can you tell me what Rockingham style is? Boil it down for me, please.
I don't know if there's an exact style, but I think I tried to allude to, you know, like what I meant by saying it at the end of the song. And to tell you the truth, like I had all those bars written and then I just kind of went at it. And once I finished the verse, it was such like to me, it was like such a cool, important song that I rapped it one take. I'm not lying. I rapped it one take.
Oh, wow.
I practiced for a while though, but I went in and once I was in, you know, I turned the lights off, whatever. I was just trying to get in the zone. And then I never left the booth. I never had that little hook written. I just started saying it and it just stuck. Like I just started saying, that's my Rockingham style, baby. Like just because I was so into. And really what I'm getting at is like everything I'm saying, that's my Rockingham style. This is how I was. This is what I believe. This is how I acted. I don't know if there's.
You are showing us Rockingham style, basically.
At least from my perspective. Everybody has memories and everybody has things that shape them. And different people come in and out of their memories, right? There are guest stars in it, right? But everybody sees and perceives things their own way. So realistically, a lot of us grew up there at the same time, obviously, but this is how I saw it. And these are the things that I decided to touch on that stuck out to me. So realistically, that's my Rockingham style. Like, this is how I feel like I mean, adolescence is obviously what shapes us like to who we are a lot today, like it or not. So
most rappers rap about when they were teenagers, honestly.
Yeah, no question. And I'm talking all the way back to like elementary, junior high, all the way up to high school. So yeah, like this is just how I saw it. I mean, yeah, people come in and out. I mentioned names, but this is how I reflect. And really the whole album, Ghost of Rockingham, it's just one big self-reflection.
I love that.
It's one big self-reflection from taking what I'm doing today and comparing, contrasting from back home to here, right? And especially, you know, with COVID and stuff, you're just doing a lot of reflecting, like for whatever reason. So yeah, that's how kind of the title of the album, and like Ghost just means the memories. The Ghost of Rockingham means memories and things. And so Rockingham style, yeah, that song just kind of came about, you know, just like for whatever reason. There's a couple tragedies back home and things like that, and you're just like, you know, it just kind of, I've never wrote a song that I was so happy about so quick. Just everything came out super fast, so it was cool to do it. But It might be my most favorite song ever.
Oh wow, that was a question I had for you actually.
Okay, what ask me and pretend I didn't say it. What were you gonna say?
What is your favorite song on the Ghost of Rockingham?
Oh, Rockin'
Yeah, let's go.
It is though. It is just because.
Oh man.
I mean, it might not be everybody's favorite, but everybody has their own personal ones, right? So I like that one a lot. I like Every Breath a lot too with Ambition. I like a lot.
Oh man, yo, you led right into my next topic.
Ah man, that's because
Every Breath. You said better existence is intertwined with the business end of the shit.
Yeah, I said intertwining like better existences mixed with the business ends. Like I'm just like, sometimes that stuff can butt heads, right? So that's just what I meant by that. Like,
but it also gives you a better life sometimes. Like honestly, like I've done tours where the business wasn't all the way right and my existence wasn't great on those tours.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I thought of. Like, yo, if your business end is on point, your existence on the road will be a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I do okay business wise, but at the same time, business sucks. Like, because once again, like, I mean, money and all that stuff, it always ruins things. Like, you know what I mean?
It
like,
sucks the passion out of it.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, people want to be, and so do I. Like, people want to be paid and people want to be taken care of lucratively, right? But at the same time, when that stuff comes into it, it's not as genuine. When you're making that album, and I'm talking about bumping into Quake at the studio that I just saw at the Tennis Center, and like, well, all we're thinking is we love this. This is what we like. You know what I mean? So it's like now it's like people need whatever, like splits, money, this, that. Like I'm like
the hotel rooms.
Right. I mean, I'm talking about even tracks and like getting like
okay, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, man, like I don't. It's tough to deal with all that stuff, and I know it's important, but sometimes maybe the love I have for it is just like I just like doing it so much that I don't think like I need to worry about it too much, and that could be a detriment at the same time. So I guess I got to find a happy place in between so I can get my business right and I can keep that genuine love for it, right? Sometimes
you need somebody on your team that's worried about the splits and worried about the business, is passionate about the business. Well, you can be passionate about the music you do.
Right. Exactly.
Honestly.
And then at the same time, like that's, trust issues and this and that. Like
100%.
Interested, like blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just everybody that does it knows. And it's tough to have that genuine, like, I love doing this when that stuff comes in. That's what I was just getting at. We went on forever about that one line, but that's kind of,
I love that.
It's a loaded line if you ask me. So.
No, it's the stuff that a lot of people won't even talk about, bro. Like, and you put it there for us to decipher and to pick through,
What else am I going to talk about? That's for me, like, that's
bro. People don't want to talk about like having issues with splits. People don't want to like bring that up. People don't want to be like, well, this is sucking the passion out of the love affair that I have with this music. Yeah. Like,
no, I mean,
even though some of our favorite artists are dealing with that.
Yeah, and that's what it is, man. Like for me, like what is my subject matter? It's my life. It's what I do. Like I don't. Some people might be like, "What's he talking? He's talking about his kids again." What blah blah blah. Yeah. Well, he's taking his kids to do this, or now I'm saying this is me like trying to find passion, or maybe you know what? Maybe I'm dealing with whatever else in my life, but that's all I pull from. And I mean, I write. Somebody asked me this the other day. Somebody was like, I was doing an interview the other day, and somebody was like, "What's your writing process?" I'm like, I don't even really know. I just know when it's time, like to start focusing on something because something has, piqued my interest in sharing it like a journal. So for me, whatever, I can't remember exactly where I was at that point, but that beat I had from Petey Punch or whatever, he was like, I love that beat. And everybody's like, are you sure? I'm like, no, that beat's crazy, like to me. So I was like, in the sense that it was just really slow, not that it wasn't dope, but like slower type beat. And I was like, no, I can use this for sure. Sat with it, knew I had it because I knew what emotion I could go to if I needed it. And then something like, I forget, like could have been anything, winter depression, who knows what was going on, but I just kind of trying to like deal with whatever albums that verse came out, and I loved it. I was like, yeah, that's a real verse, man. I was totally genuine about it.
Absolutely. And shout out to Petey Punch, underrated producer and DJ.
One of the best, man. One of the best. Love him.
Yeah, man. I had the honor of performing in front of him while he was spinning at a show in Halifax that I was privileged to do. Man, what was it like having your son on a joint on your album?
I loved it. I thought that was important because they're both on it. Actually, I got my 7-year-old on it and my 5-year-old. So Thomas, my oldest, he's at the end of Rockingham. And my youngest, Danny, is on. He does a little skit, which is totally genuine, where he comes down and goes, "These days I'm rich, yeah, baby." Because I just happened to be working on something, and I have record on when you walk down. He's like, "Dad, can I be on the album?" And I said, "I'm like, yeah," and I just quietly turned up the volume so I could get him. He didn't go in the booth. He was standing right beside me. And he goes, I'm like, okay, go ahead. And he's like, yeah, baby. These days I'm rich. Yeah, baby. And I was like, totally genuine, totally gold, right? I mean, I was like, man, what? I was like, that was awesome. I was laughing. Like, it's a whole one take, man, totally genuine. And I was like, why did you say that? He's like, rappers are rich, Dad. You're rich, right? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm rich,
yeah.
I mean, rappers must be rich. Like, I'm like, okay.
But, man, bro.
But Thomas, like, that wasn't like we talked him through that, so he did that on his own. But or like, we taught him how to say it, and then I thought it'd be cool because in the Rockingham style song, I thought it'd be cool to like pass the torch in the sense to be like, I'm talking about my childhood. This is my oldest son. He gets to go back and walk through the neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought it was important to like bring them into it to make it 100% genuine feel like, you know, this is
New Sons of Rockingham.
Yeah, I raised you the way I raised you because of how I was shaped there. You know what I mean? So.
Right. No, for sure. For sure. Let's talk about Square One. Who produced that?
Fester.
Oh my God. A beat like that is special.
Yep. Yeah.
You knew it when you got it, right?
Well, it was this summer. I was at his place, or last summer, I should say. I was home for the stint I was home, and I went over and he picked me up at my mom's and my dad's because I didn't have a ride. Obviously, I was like, it was funny. I was like a teenager. He lives in Dartmouth, and I was back visiting him. I couldn't, rent a car, and he drove me over to Dartmouth because he had just moved to his new spot. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna play a bunch of beats for you, blah blah blah. I got a couple lined up. So he went through a ton of beats, and that was like the second one he played, and I was like, the whole phrase. I was like, yeah, write that down, write that one down, write that, like, so that one I was like, bang, like that beat is crazy, like, so that's how I got that, just playing it for me live, going through his machine, and I just took it, and I was like, okay, I need this beat. Don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with it, but I need it because I know how good it is. So what happened with that was because of DK and doing his whole project with Justo, I was like, man, I don't know where I'd go on this first. And I have no problem ever admitting that I'm like, sometimes I need other MCs to go first on something that I think could bring the doper version of myself out by hearing what they would do. So I'm like, who would be perfect for this is Justo. So
he set the tone.
Justo went first.
He set the tone big time.
Went first, and then I went, and then Lavender went. So she heard both of ours, and then she went. So, and Fest put the cuts on it first, actually. So he did the beat and then put cuts on so we could get a whole feel where we wanted to go. And then Yeah, that song was super dope, actually. Super dope for the heads for sure. Like a lot of people head wise definitely love that.
Oh my god, dude, that one was a freaking gem.
Yeah, for sure.
The first lady of PEI on there, come on.
Yeah. I just was like, man, we performed together at the release party I was just telling you about a while ago, and I was like, man, I don't think I've ever rapped with a female MC on a track. So I was like, man, she's super dope. I know her. We
She's
chatted.
a killer.
Like I was like, I'm gonna reach out. It'd be cool to have Justa's voice, my take on it, and then whatever she would bring. I was just like, it'd be such a cool, like intricate, and it's just verses realistically because it just the beat will go and then the next key comes in, right? And then cuts to the beginning. And then I just thought it'd be a super cool look to have different MCs perspective go at it. So yeah, I reached out to her and I got it to her somehow, and we talked about it pretty quick, and she did it pretty fast actually. So
oh yeah, no, she's a monster.
Yeah, so that was a huge one.
Fuck yeah, it was super huge. Prolific joint, man. On Talk to Him, you said the genre is taking its toll for real though. I'm holding on to my soul for reasons like that combo the other day. Tell me about that.
Well, because like I open up with the conversation I had with my son where he's like, Dad, are you wise? I'm like, nah, but I'm important. Meaning like, I don't know how wise I am, but I'm important to you. So, you know, you need to listen. So I just give him like a life lesson or whatever. Right. So then I'm like, go help your little brother. You're a big brother. That's what you got to do. Right. So, you know, and then, you know, but yeah, like I'm trying to balance that and the passion I have for, you know, creating music and whatever else. So yeah, like we were just talking about before, we're talking about the ills of everything. I'm trying to like, when I get frustrated or I get, you know, I don't want to, you know, throw myself away where I couldn't have a meaningful conversation with my kids or be the best father I could be. So that's exactly what that means.
Yeah, a lot of fathers in the culture, man, especially like when they're in deeply into the rap game. I mean, you could easily neglect responsibilities at home, you know, just chasing this rap dreams. And like when I heard your bar, I thought it was like, oh, you know, he has moral qualms with like the direction that hip hop is going right now. But then when you tell me that, I'm like, okay, like he just wants to be a really good dad.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like you're trying to be excellent at both. But in the end, as far as I'm concerned, like I'm not out on the road making millions of dollars, so I can't be like, yo, like I'll be home soon. You're gonna have all the best of everything this way. So what I got to do is make sure that they're number one and I'm always available. And I can't put myself first in the sense that, yeah, I love doing what I do on the side, but it's not fair if I'm just thinking about myself and I'm doing this and that and not, you know, tending to them and raising them the way they should be raised because I just want to pursue a dream of music.
You're a father first.
Right. And that's what I think. It's different if you're, you know, you're out there and you're creating a whole wonderful life for them by the money you're making or this and that. But what I'm trying to do is balance both the best of my ability, where in the end I'll cater towards them if need be, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
That stuff.
No, that's fire. That's fire. Bro, this is why I love sitting down with you and breaking down your bars and what they really mean to you. Like these are the gems, bro. Like these are the gems. On Famous, you said shattered glass, scattered roots as we search for reality and hidden truths through the music.
Right.
Fire.
So what I'm talking about there in an abstract form, obviously, is just like things gone wrong, broken relationships, like things that you've done wrong in the past, different, you know, different just ills or whatever, right? Different things you've come across that didn't really go the way you planned. And then, but I'm lucky enough with a couple other people that we have an avenue to release some tension or write it in a diary that we could record and share, maybe help others that are going through the same thing. So realistically, that's what I'm getting at. Like, things can be not going well, but for whatever reason, I'm one of the lucky ones that gets to come down here in the booth or whatever and try to relieve some of that stress and help others relieve it too. So that's what I was getting.
God picked you out for that shit. You know what I'm saying? We all have different methods of expressing what we express in our light to the world. And I mean, lyrically, that's how you do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
For sure. Bro, talk to me about what's in store for disc 2. I know you somewhat dropped the album art for the next joint. Let us in on some of what we got coming.
Disc 2 has I'm trying to make it as genuine as possible with the new age, how you release music, right?
Yeah.
So I want it to be a double disc, right? Because I always was like, some of my favorite things, memories of being in that Rockingham area was listen to like All Eyes on Me or Life After Death. So I'm like, I always wanted one of those on my resume. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it like that. But obviously, it's just a different time, different era, right? So so I'm gonna keep it sounding pretty similar, like enough that it would complement, like, oh, this is a double disc. Like, I want people to be like, when it comes out, you listen to this and it flows into the other one, right? A lot of the same faces too, I think. So Justo's back on it.
Oh wow.
Docs is on it. Tachichi's on it. Fester's producing. DK did. Sean's back on it. Hermit's back on it.
Wow.
So I tried to pull everybody in and make it like this is the Ghost of Rockingham, literally disc 2. Like, all the same face. Most of the same people are back. Solomon Childs is on a song with Justo and I, which is pretty cool. We did that, and Sean one did the beat, which is awesome. I brought back in Samson and I, and Word Burglar have a pretty cool track.
Oh shit, you got to join Word Burglar?
Yeah, Samson actually did the beat, which is pretty awesome.
Damn.
My kids do the interlude before. It's Samson did amazing, like, I don't know how he did it, but he did like a Michael Jackson like vocal sample type beat where and like my kids are somehow making fun of me that I'm not as good as Michael Jackson, and somehow the song kicks in. It's a pretty cool little thing. Like, it's I'm really happy with it. The fact that at some point those two albums can be put together as one, like when the dust settles and people are going through the catalog or whatever, and like Ghost of Rockingham Part 2 or Volume 2 or whatever I'm going to call it, with the same artwork, maybe just a different tone of the color, just to make it seem like it is a double album. I was thinking making it like, I don't know, purplish or red, or I don't know, but I want to try to stick to the double album script. So I am proud of it. And it's actually just waiting to get the release date now from Black Buffalo and see what the plan is, single wise or whatever. I'm actually, before we jumped on, I was trying to listen and come up with some singles, and same type of rollout, I guess, really, like just trying to.
I mean, if you send them over, I could give you some.
yeah, I could do
that. I'm just playing, but yo, freaking Black Buffalo, man, like, oh my God, they're the energy behind all this movement that's just inspiring me like so much right now.
Yeah, man, it's a great spot to be, and it's a lot of good people, like, and I mean good people just as good people. So
yeah, man, shout out to Kamut and Kevin. Really dope individuals, man, and they put the culture on their back in Halifax, honestly.
Yeah, man, and they were kind enough and to bring me in, and I'm appreciative in that sense, just to be around that fold and have my name in that mix, right? Because like I said before, when it's all said and done, you're just trying to check boxes where you can be like, hey, I did that, and I'm at peace with it when it's the dust settles or whatever. So it was a really cool environment to get brought into. And you know what? It was just like when I finally said, I'm gonna do this a little more serious, and to just watch it kind of, go up a little bit, and then link up with them, and then double up, double up, double up. It was just like a really cool box to check, and they have a big part of where I'm at right now, obviously, right? So they're a huge name to vouch for you as far as I'm concerned, and then the culture and the type of music that I make, and yeah,
man.
What a cool.
What's it like to have your music on vinyl right now?
It's not on vinyl yet.
It's it's not on vinyl yet.
You know what? And that's my fault, because I can't. I said this the other day too with something I was doing an interview I was doing. I can't do it, man. I can't cut it down enough.
Yeah, that's the hard part for real.
You know what? It's like, what is it? Like 42 minutes or 40? I can't. 43 minutes. I don't know. Like, I'm close. I almost did it, but I can't. I can't. The way I make an album or the way I make a project, I don't know what I'm gonna put on it till I just know. And I'm like, I couldn't mentally be like, I'm going to cut this to put it on vinyl. Maybe I should be able to do that, but maybe that just makes me who I am artist wise. Like, I would feel the whole time I'd never be able to be comfortable with the project that I was like, I took that track off. It should be on it. Like, I'd never be able to rest. I'd be like, it just would drive me crazy. So, you know what? I do want to do some stuff on vinyl, and I'm sure it'll happen pretty soon, but Ghost was longer than it was supposed to be, but I was like, whatever. I got a cool little following. People buy the CDs. So I'll keep that as it is. And then Ghost 2 is like about 5 minutes longer than that. So like I couldn't do it. But this summer, when I have some time and I'm home, Fester and I are supposed to start our project together, just him and I. And Tichi and I are supposed to be working on something together, and those will be smaller EP style projects, which I'm sure I'll end up on Wax at some point. But that's kind of where I'm at.
That's a big goal for me. Like, as an MC, I just want to get on vinyl someday. Like, even if it's just a single, like, I'm cool. Like,
no, definitely. I 100%. So there's definitely options. I totally feel exactly what you just said. The whole feeling that like record crackle, your stuff's on that.
Oh my God.
Big part of, stuff that I wanted to do when I joined up with Black Buffalo. Right now I just got to be, I guess I got to be honest with the lane I'm in and the avenue that like I do have a pretty cool little streaming following.
Yeah.
And like CD wise, like just it's been kind of rising up, and those are the people that seem to be into what I'm doing. So I don't even know like vinyl wise yet. Like vinyl's a process. Like I don't know if like who's gonna be like, can't wait for bRav vinyl, because right now I know,
bro, I can't wait for bRav vinyl.
But I know people are definitely into streaming it and buying it off Bandcamp or like CD hard copies. Another thing I really want to do a box to check would be like a cassette. Now that would be cool because that's as cool as vinyl is. I'm more of a cassette kid because that's our generation.
Yeah, me too. I did that a couple years ago. That was fun.
You did a cassette?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's super dope, man.
Right here.
What's it say? Beast
Rhymes and Life.
Nice. That's cool, man. That's super hard. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It was cool. It was a passion project. Like I never printed them out to expect to sell them out. Like, I was just like, man, I just want a cassette. Like, let's get it.
Yeah, no question, man. That's dope. Because as cool as vinyl is to me, like tape cassettes that's my memories. Like tapes. Like I think the first tape I ever bought was Thriller. So I think I missed out on like all vinyl. Like I was just buying.
Wow. First tape I ever bought was Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet.
Nice.
Yeah. She was fire. She was lit. So yeah, been a cassette baby ever since for sure. I feel you on that.
Yeah. That's our generation.
For real. Man, thank you so much for taking the time to kick it with us at Breaking Records Radio East Coast coverage.
Of course, man. I told you, anything you ever need from me, man. And I appreciate you always reaching out and having me on. Guys do your thing so well. Shouts out to everybody on the team, man. And I've watched you.
Hell, man, I appreciate that.
I'm up from the get-go, just really grinding with this media thing, man. Like, you should be proud of yourself. Like,
it's fun.
Like, finding a lane that you're crushing right now. So good for you, man.
I appreciate you big time, man. And as always, peace, love, and respect. It's hip hop, baby. And we out. You know what I'm saying?
Peace.
Thank you so much, brother.
No problem.
Peace, love.